Welcome to Horror Movies and Beyond, a show about reviewing horror movies for the living to understand the dead. I'm your host, Ivotres Littles, and this is Shudderary, where we go behind the screens of Shudder original and exclusive movies. Today, I have a really awesome special guest, Josh Goldblum, who's one of the producers of Shudder original movie VHS 94. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
It feels a bit like deja vu, doesn't it?
It really does.
Too much of a joke.
I'm just so happy to have this opportunity to talk to you about VHS 94 and just the look and feel of it. So, but anyway, how have you been? I mean, during this pandemic fun?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thankfully I've been pretty good. It's been a bit of a surreal year, you know. We from start to finish. I mean, from us like actually taking the project out and selling it to its completion was probably like right around a year, maybe a little bit of less. So it was definitely a sprint, more so than a marathon. But yeah, we had such a, you know, to be able to surround ourselves, you know, with such a good team and so many friends, and you know, it's just a really good creative experience to have during a really dark time for all of us.
To keep your mind focused and fresh, especially with all this stuff going on, and to, you know, just anything like that. It's just like great. And bring out stuff like this, like VHS 94. So let's get into it, of course. So tell people, what is VHS 94? What is it about?
Oh, a loaded question. It's a horror anthology about a SWAT team raid on what they believe is a drug compound, only to find out that it's a cult compound. But the stories are told, obviously, it's an anthology. So throughout the raid, they're coming across different VHS tapes, trying to put a story together. Yeah, it's essentially what it's about. You know, you throw in some rat monsters, zombies. Collectively, that's what VHS 94 is. We got financed right as the lockdown was beginning, and so we were in prep when a lot of things were up in the air. A lot of productions were getting canceled. It really was like the landscape was really unpredictable. But long story short, you know, David Bruckner, who's an executive producer on this, developed the treatment for the project, and he since went on to work on Hellraiser. And while Hellraiser was on pause, we inherited, you know, the crew piece or two from them. One of those crew members was Keith Thompson, who came in and was the concept artist. He's the concept artist for all the Cenobites and creatures in Hellraiser, but he designed Ratma for us. And we took Ratma to Patrick McGee over at McGee Effects in Los Angeles. So Patrick, who was in Los Angeles, we couldn't get him a work visa to come into Toronto. So he built the Ratma and shipped it to us. We got like the Ratma like 2 days before we had to shoot the Ratma. I mean, Patrick is just he's an absolute superstar. I can't say enough about him. From beginning to end, I think it took him like less than 14 days to create that, to build and sculpt that monster. It was wild. Just 24/7.
The monster was wild. You don't expect anything to come out of, you know, a sewer looking like that. Because when it was saying Ratma, I was thinking, oh, just like a rat, like a human type rat. No, this was frightening. Very frightening. A new creature. I mean, this should be, I would love a figure. Like, I would love to like have it, you know, I have mini figures, but I would love to like see it, a 12-inch tall figure, 8 to 12 inches or whatever, and just sit there, and just the look of it is just what, I've never seen anything like that. So
Yeah, maybe
So
one day we'll get a Ratma action figure. That would be nice.
they would sell. I think they would sell. I would buy one. I don't care
We
about anybody else. I would buy one.
we gifted
Huh?
Chloe, who's the writer director of that segment. We gifted her the Ratma costume at Beyond Fan.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
lucky.
what a gnarly thing to keep in your closet, right?
Just that moment, you're like, oh, let me find something to wear. You open it up, and it's just like,
Tumbling in the dark. Yeah.
I know I would shit my pants. That'll be it. Um, so let's get into these segments and you involved into this project. So there will be some spoilers that we would throw out there. So if you don't want to hear about it, hit subscribe, like, and then go check it out. It's currently streaming on Shudder, VHS 94. If you're going to stick around and listen to us, cool. How did you get involved with this project? Like, how did it land on, got on your lap and you're just like, oh my gosh, okay, we got to keep this going. Who can we get and everything?
Yeah, it was so Brad Miska and I, being Brad Miska, Blade Disgusting, and the creator of the franchise, him and I were looking for a couple projects to work on. We collaborated on Cinepocalypse, a festival that we ran in Chicago, and previous to that, or prior to that, it was Bruce Campbell's Horror Film Festival. And Brad had been telling me that they were trying to develop VHS 94, and they had hit the pause button on it for a hot minute. And I came in and licensed the IP from a company called Studio 71, and we were off to the races as soon as we had the IP. So again, it probably it all happened so fast. We got the IP. We went to the Cannes virtual market with it, and Shudder was either the first or one of the first companies that we put the project in front of, and from the get-go, they were supportive of it. So that was essentially how it came together.
When developing this, was it always like, okay, we're going to keep it on its own, or have it somewhat, coincide with the other ones?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're always internally just kind of discussing what the origin of these tapes are, and we'll spend like hours and hours and days and weeks just kind of noodling on who made these tapes, where did they come from, right? And I think at the end of the day, we all just came to the conclusion that nobody gives a shit, right? We're the only people that care about what the origin of these tapes are. So we were trying to connect the dots for way too long on it, and then it was just kind of like, let's just tell the best possible stories, right? That's what we want to see. That's what the audience wants to see, and I think that's going to kind of make it. You never want to set up. You don't want to set yourself up for failure, and I think I don't know if there are expectations to what an origin story behind VHS might be. Maybe one day we'll have a great idea and explore it. I can tell you that from the onset, we were very concerned about interconnectivity within VHS 94, right? How can we tell a story that just has one fluid narrative? So many filmmakers, different tapes, but how can that all become one cohesive story? And I think we cracked that code early on, but we had to pivot many times over just because we were losing directors to some smaller projects that nobody probably ever heard of, like Hellraiser and Scream. So we had to bring in new filmmakers, and a lot of it was we wanted to make sure that everybody that we brought in was able to see through their vision and not somebody else's vision. So I think we did lose a little bit of that, or a whole lot of that interconnectivity, but maybe we'll find it in another iteration. But still, incredibly overwhelmingly happy about what we were able to put together.
Mm-hmm. So why 94? I mean, it could have been any other year, but is there a specific reason it's just 94?
One of the internal jokes that we always make is it's not a joke, but what we like to point out is this is the fourth VHS. So if you take the 9 away off of VHS, it's VHS 4. But I think we really wanted to take this back and create that analog aesthetic that I don't think was ever really like replicated in a VHS film. So for us, it was very important to have that era authenticity, and VHS tapes. In the night, especially in the early to mid 90s, like that was the format of choice. So we, from the very beginning, we did a bunch of different camera tests. We took like digital cameras and ran them through different types of like analog decks, so like VHS decks, Betacam decks. Essentially, that's what the output was of VHS 94 was, us going crazy and making this really expensive movie that like we just ended up running through a VHS deck. Another was like incredibly supportive. Like I think early on they were like, "What are you guys doing?" But then like once we explained it, I mean, we shot, just to get like a little bit geeky, like tech spec geeky. We shot this in 29 frames per second, right? Most projects are shot like 24. It's not industry standard whatsoever. There's like, I'm sure there's international like broadcasts that can't run 29/7. It's just a very old like TV style format, but it gives you more of that authentic like realism from the camera's perspective. And so we went all out this time around, just like trying to create that analog that analog aesthetic from the mid 90s. And I think moving forward with the next iteration, that's something we definitely want to keep exploring, and just make this look like some crazy tape that you found in like your grandpa's basement or some shit. That makes us old, right? Our grandpa's basement.
The stories, I mean, Holy Hell, Storm Drain, The Empty Water, The Subject of Terror, and also that weird one, which I completely forgot. I didn't even the veggie
the veggie masher.
Yeah, the veggie masher. These stories, did you have like a lot of writers and they just came up with these ideas and then you guys just choose the best, or you already chose the writers and directors and just like give me your best shot?
Right. No, it's mostly us targeting filmmakers that we want to work with, and then essentially the process is them delivering us a treatment, and then we just kind of like workshop that treatment over a little bit of time. But generally speaking, usually the treatments that are provided to us, or even the final scripts, are like, I mean, God, you look at guys like Simon and Ryan and Chloe and Jennifer and Timo, like they're just incredible artists, right? So I think the formula for VHS is it's an incredibly fun sandbox. It takes a bit of or at least for a little while there, right? Like it took a whole lot of crap as just a subgenre, but when you do it right and you work with the people that actually understand it, it's pretty damn effective to kind of create the best possible story. But I mean, for the most part, these filmmakers are just masters of their craft. So we do like to support what they need, as opposed to like, just go in there and be that chop guy.
First of all, if I was a reporter and I had to go figure out a rat creature, whatever, I would stand outside and do my story. But also when I'm looking across the way and seeing someone like standing behind a pillar over there or something with his gun, that lets me know whatever's in there. I ain't going in there, but people need to get their story. That whole thing, it was just, I mean, I don't like closed spaces, so I don't think I would have even attempted to go in there.
But Chloe's such a badass that she shot I mean, they probably went like 500 to 1,000 feet. Maybe that's a bit much, but the first portion of that segment was actually shot inside of a storm drain in the middle of December in freezing Canada. And we gave Chloe all the outs that she needed to not do that. And she wanted that authenticity. But we created half of that once you're in the room with the Ratma, creature. We were bubbling inside of a hotel, inside of a Holiday Inn in Burlington, Ontario. And we built a giant, it's probably like 80 by 100 feet, like storm drain inside of the Holiday Inn. So like in the atrium, we just built this huge sewer set.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But did you guys check out the storm drain before she went in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Make sure there's no real Ratmas in there.
Right. there's safety protocols. You know, we're not trying to hurt anybody. So yeah, we had a bunch of prep days early on.
And did you go in there? Did you go in the storm drain?
Into the storm drain.
And you went as far as they were going to shoot?
We went. So, yeah, I would say like if you're watching that segment, right up until like you'll see her turn around and you can see like the outside of the drain. All that is real. When you have to put people like, you know, like the Bill character when she's interviewing, you know, Bill, like he's got his shirt off. Like you can't do that in like negative 20-degree weather inside of an actual storm drain. So that's when we knew that going into it, right? So we built a giant set piece for the second half.
Oh, okay. It looks so real. And then,
no,
I mean, once
so fun. Just a funny, interesting piece of IMDb trivia. The art director on that segment who built all of the sets was the art director on Predator.
Oh, okay.
Yes. He came hard for us. He was great.
He really did. Yeah. I mean, it looked real, and the creature itself, I've never seen anything like that. I can't even. Oh, it looks like, or maybe I've seen it. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Was there a lot of designs, and then you guys said that one? That one would work?
It was. I mean, it all happened so quick. Keith came in and talked to Chloe, and you know the script was just so damn good to begin with that, you know, between the script and like, you know, just Chloe's vision, he nailed it pretty much on the first attempt. Yeah, I mean, he had some ideas. His initial concept was can I curse?
A little.
That means no. His original vision was real crazy. So basically, like the Ratma, right? So the way he comprehended it was, it wasn't like a rat man; it was a rat mother, and the rat mother would have been feeding the cult members in the sewer, and so there was like, I think there was a photo that he drew us of like one of the cult members like drinking the black like goo out of her nipple, and then like all along the sewer he had like little baby bottles filled with like the black goo. And Chloe, rightfully so, was like, this isn't the way that I want to treat like a motherly type character, and so we just kind of stepped back from that idea. But that was the initial concept that he delivered to us, which is great in its own right, and probably would have been really cool. But I mean, you know, Chloe did it perfectly. You can't question her decisions. You know, it was such a wonderful creative vision on her part, for sure.
In the empty wake, was that in a real mortuary?
We built that set in the same Holiday Inn in a conference room.
Oh wow, it looked real.
We had all like the rain, like the weather outside, like all of that was done inside of the
wow.
Yeah,
really, it looked like a real, funeral home.
We were looking to go on location for a while on that segment, and I think it's easier when you're able to build something, you know, and from Simon's standpoint, I think like you have a little bit more control, right? Because it's like when you're blocking and you know, looking for like your sequences and setting up your scares, if you're able to build that out, yeah, it was a pretty easy decision to build. That was Zosha McKenzie who built that set, and she was the production designer on Come to Daddy.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and she also just recently did Brandon Cronenberg's new movie.
Oh,
yeah, she's
okay.
she's a rock.
Out of all of them, all the segments, I have to say that one is my favorite. Um, it
It's
was so
intense.
subtle. It was a very subtle. I mean, not a lot was going on, but then there was a lot going on. I mean, it was too silent. You know, would you sit there by yourself, you know, all hours of the night for a wake in the evening, and then one person comes and chants and leaves? It's like, and then the casket is like moving, you know, or knocking on it. I would have got fired. That's it. Last day.
You and me both.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, but it was
We wouldn't make for a very good like horror movie character, would we?
no, it'd be
I'd
over.
run for my life. Yeah, there's no way I'd be in that situation to begin with.
I know, like,
Just
you
watch
know,
it over.
even in real life, yeah,
Mhm.
even in real life, you know, real life is scary. I mean, I mean, I watch horror films, but you know what's really there's a show that's scary as hell. It's scarier than any horror film out there. I don't care what it is. Forensic
That was
Files.
the last show I would assume that you were going to say.
I've seen every episode. I think it's 14 seasons. I've seen every one.
Oh my god.
They're scary. They had me locking doors and closing windows. I was like, I could deal with a monster under the bed, but the monster outside about to go in the window, no.
Yeah.
Those are scary. Those are real scary.
I
but yeah,
think the odds are on your side that a zombie is not going to just come out of his coffin and terrorize you, but you never know.
and
It
it wasn't
hasn't
just
happened yet, but there's always a first, right?
you know, and but the what was scary about that
Mm-hmm.
that zombie or it was like half a face. You don't know that it's like at the wall, and then it turns around. It's like
That was all like the head was all like a 3D composite, which is like
oh really? Oh my god.
well, no, it was a suit, right? So like the
Uh-huh.
half the head was like a suit, and then the part that you don't see, we had to do like a 3D composite. So it basically looked
Oh.
like a black skull that you would
Uh-huh.
see, and then but yeah, it was so like all of that was practical, right? So like the gut spilling, the hand falling off. When you see like half of Edward's like face, that's all animatronics that we built that like
Oh.
like remote controlled. Yeah, all we went. I would say we probably were like 70 to 80% practical, like 20% VFX
Oh,
in this movie.
okay,
But the
okay.
VFX were really just to like just kind of in addition to, right? Just to like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I won't bore you with those details.
No, I love that stuff. I love the behind the scenes and how things work and things like that. But I have to tell you, if I was there, I would have bust out the glass and just deal with the tornadoes and hurricanes that were outside. I'd rather deal with that than what was in that wake. No way. Um, the next one, the subject,
Yeah.
that had a lot going on.
Mm.
It reminded me of Tokyo Gore Police. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, okay, I get it now. I get it. That had a lot going on.
Mm.
I mean, was a lot of it practical, or because I know when the woman was, you know, when she was half, you know, it seemed like from here up a
Yeah.
machine, and she was looking at herself, was that practical, or was there actually something sitting on her head? I mean, how much was that real? I mean, because it looks so good.
That's a good question. I would probably say like half and half. There was some
Mm-hmm.
intense VFX done or utilized within that segment. That was so Timo shot everything in Indonesia, and he had
Oh, really?
his own. So essentially, like the way it worked with Timo, he developed the concept with us. He actually went through quite a few scripts. His initial script was the way that we initially had this project. Everything was kind of set up to like be like as connective tissue. So there was a lot of not similarities, but like we were really trying to make a movie that had like one cohesive narrative flow to it. And
Mm-hmm.
when we opted to go a different direction, Timo had to rewrite his segment almost entirely, and he kept some of what was there, but I mean Timo's a genius. Like the admiration I have for him is just like as just a filmmaker and a human being is like incomparable. Like he's so good, and we essentially just like wired him the money, and his team just, you know, from beginning to end, they delivered his project for us to assemble. And just as like he was shooting that just as they were going into lockdown there too.
Oh, really?
It was such an absolute nightmare for them. Yeah, Indonesia unfortunately got, I mean, a lot of places got hit really hard, but they you know, it's just there's never good timing for that. But like every time a cop runs in, they kept thinking it was like a cop running in from out, like a real cop trying to shut down.
Oh, we're like, stop. Okay. It also reminds me of video games too.
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill and
Doom was a big inspiration for him. Yeah.
Oh, it really was. I haven't seen the new one. I saw the old school dude. Yeah. Just the look of the mechanical creatures, or half man, half robot. I mean, that is scary. I mean, it's just, when it first come on and you see the head, you think, oh, it's just that, and some guy has, this ring thing holding him up, and then you realize he got spider legs and just dead. I was like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, that would be absolutely terrible to wake up to. My goodness. You're having a bad day.
Man.
You wake up with spider legs, and then you're immediately set on fire.
I know, just a short circuit right then and there. It's like, zzz, and then like, like, that was it. He's done. I was like, that sucks. And then there's the terror, the extremist group of holding a vampire. And then I was like, why is they keep shooting it? I was like, just keep blowing the head away. And then, they were testing the blood, and then it explodes. And I'm just like, vampire blood explodes? But then I thought, well, yeah, kind of. They burst into flames when the sun hits them. How was that?
Yeah.
Like, how was that story? I mean, where was...
genius concept. I love Ryan. I've known Ryan for many years. We did It's an Apocalypse. We did the US premiere of his last movie, Low Life. And initially, like, he was going to do something much different. We'd actually been looking at him to potentially do the wraparound, and then he came in and delivered this treatment to us. And then just, when he sent it to me, my mind was just blown, right? And I was like, I always want to see Nazis die in movies, right? No matter what. Like, you want to find the way to my heart as a producer, kill some Nazis in a movie, and I'll find funding somewhere for it. But just the concept of like you said, like utilizing like blood from a vampire as a destructive weapon, to me was incredibly brilliant. And he's got some very darkly like comical sensibilities too, and I thought that was a really, really fun addition to the VHS universe. And he knocked it out of the park. I love his segment so much.
And as you're watching these, when you see the SWAT team going through the building, each part of the building gives you some insight of what the next story is going to be.
Well, also, it's Easter egg too. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the storylines that we actually kept in, or at least an Easter egg, or like a bit of interconnectivity, the Slater character in Jennifer's wraparound, who's the last to die at the very end, who gets his head crushed with the camera, is also the policeman who shows up in Ryan's segment Terror. So there's a crossover of that character. I don't know how many people actually picked up on that, but
because I have here
established that he was a bad cop before we find out he's really a terrible cop.
Because see, I have here Slater was part of the militia, so maybe I did put it, because he was tied up, and Petra accused him of being a traitor, and they created the tapes to distribute the videotapes And they have animal cruelty and stuff like that. But I noticed one thing about that. Because when I was watching that and she explained that, because I wrote down what she said, I was like, well, that doesn't, like, why have all these videotapes and why people are crazy about them? But then I started thinking about people into snuff films, people into, Faces of Death. I mean, there's websites where you can see people get decapitated and stuff, and people are just feeding into that.
I think she was trying to take it back to the days of tape trading and video nasties. And these two women, who have infiltrated the police force, that are cult members of the VHS, like of VHS tapes, and they were going in there trying to make their own video nasty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really got him good.
Really did. I mean, yeah, he was the cop that sold the weapons to the militia in terror.
Yeah, terrible. But that's
hence the final, the closing track, Dead Cops.
Yeah, so because here I even said I discovered not only just 94, but just the entire franchise. Like after watching this, it kind of gave you some resolution of why these tapes, but then I was looking at a deeper meaning, not just from what happened. So I said, I discovered that the VHS tapes is just a way we consume all the weird stuff. And by consuming all the weird stuff, it feeds our underground need for violence.
Couldn't have said it better.
And and then you become part of it. You become wanting more, so you create your own. Yeah. And I think, even when you see someone in the beginning of this just sitting in front of a TV and just like sniffing the goop, I mean, it symbolizes a drug. So not only was that drug from Ratma, presumably, it's in front of a TV of with snow on it, the snow, because there's no like image yet. It's just like you just need more. I need to feed this need, and I feel like that's what these kind of films showed the audience. Like we don't want to see anyone get in a car wreck. We don't want to see anyone get decapitated. We don't want to see anyone lose a limb. But for some reason, we all want to see it. Not all, but some people. I mean, raise that. Some people want to see it because it's coming, but I want to see the results. I mean, you see it on the freeway. You're trying to drive. There's an accident. Everybody slows down and causes more accidents because they're trying to see what's going on over there. So, I mean,
you are so good at this. Like, I hope Jennifer's watching. She's going to appreciate that. The whole
time. I mean, that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you so much for this. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And if you guys want more videos like this, please like and subscribe. And also go check out VHS 94. It is creepy. There's some funny moments in there, but the creatures and monsters and zombies and that Ratma thing. Oh my goodness. And the mechanical android monsters or whatever that guy did to them. Oh, poor guy. I just feel so bad for the Spider-Man. He's literally a Spider-Man. So make sure you check VHS 94. It's currently streaming on Shudder. So thank you guys so much for watching. More Shudder videos, Shudderary videos are coming your way. So thank you guys so much and have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.